The wait is over. We kick off our campaign in the CONCACAF Champions League first round against TLH Rangers from Trinidad and Tobago. It's been a busy off-season, and we've strengthened this squad. Now, it's time to get back on the pitch and chase silverware.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 73 of Red Bull KloppBot here on Sean Does FM with the New York Red Bulls. I hope you're doing well, and coming up today, we've got a transfer recap from what we did going to our last season of the save, despite the fact that we didn't get given that much money from the board, but thankfully we were able to sell a couple of players for some quite good money, and then we'll make our way through the first round, fingers crossed, of the CONCACAF Champions League against the best darn rootinest, tootinest team you've probably ever seen out of Trinidad and Tobago in the TLH Rangers. So to be fair, we really should be getting through to the next round of this competition. But this comes off the back of the end of last week, with the Bloomin' Columbus crew ended our season in the semi-finals of the Eastern Conference, off the back of us absolutely romping home with the Supporters Shield. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Have a bit of a conversation towards the end of the episode with the KloppBot. He decided, seeing as our contract here does last until the end of the season, we may as well stay here and try and pick up the couple of trophies we've won so far here, the CONCACAF Champions League, the Leagues Cup, and also, most importantly, come the end of the season, the MLS Cup. So it probably does mean going to try and skip over a large portion of the league phase of this MLS season that we are about to play, considering it doesn't usually matter as long as you make your way into the playoffs and hit form at the right time. So I think there's the plan for this upcoming season. Actually, in between these leagues that we play today, in the first round of the CONCACAF Champions League, we take on Montreal away from home. But to be fair, the Canadian team so far in the save have been a little bit rubbish, so fingers crossed that is a game where we can pick up a comfortable win off back, hopefully putting to bed the TLH Rangers in the first leg. So we might be able to just show you guys the highlights of that second leg back at home. Because a quick look at these guys, they've only got a key player on their squad screen, that is Drew Colpier, who is Trimbagonian, 1.5 star current ability, 1.5 star potential. Yeah, we should be beating these guys a much easier task than we had last season when we took on Tigres at the same stage. And to be fair, this season, we actually knew we were going to be taking part in the CONCACAF Champions League, unlike last year. So really, this is a team that we should be beating. Terminix La Hawketa Rangers, that is what the TLH means. But I'm guessing they're the best team in Trinidad and Tobago. Otherwise, they probably would not be in the Champions League. But fingers crossed we can absolutely fresh these guys off the back of the transfers that we have done. Of course, just at £5 million in our transfer budget, despite the fact the board said they'd give us 17 million. So shortchanged us there a little bit off the back of that disappointing result in the MLS Cup. So it's time to make our way over to the transfer history, and first off show you guys the players that we did let go, because there were a few. Having to go back to the end of last season to show you guys, a couple of these players you guys won't recognise because they came from our B team and also from our youth academy where we hadn't signed them yet. But the key players from our first team that we did let go of, to be fair, there is really just one. That would be Olakunle Holsawi, who was our second/third choice right winger last season. He's now made his way to San Antonio in the USL, but he's left on a free. You can see there that current ability and potential. That's the reason that we did let go of him. Also, a couple more players, though, that did depart the club. A little bit surprised they've actually popped up here on the screen. The likes of Zach Garcia, who was our third choice right back. He wanted a big contract. We didn't want to give it to him, so he's left the club. So there's a couple of players who aren't here this season who were last. So a couple of changes that we did need to make in our squad. And first up, we'll check out what we did in the transfer market, because we didn't do too much in terms of trades. And to be fair, most trades were actually to get some game money to make sure that we could stick under the salary cap. So we didn't do too much trade-wise. A lot actually did come in the lead up to the draft, getting rid of some of our draft picks. We'll go over here to all transfers 2029. Hopefully, we'll start to get some stuff here that did go through. Nothing over on the left-hand side, but over on the right, you can see that we did let go of some players. Now you can actually start to see the players that we let go of, so it's a bit weird here how things do work in the MLS. But Ryan Priestley, Brendan Sandoval, they got waived. Zach Garcia, we let go of. He got picked up in the draft that was by Cincinnati. So indeed, we've let go of Zach Garcia. He wanted a much higher wage than that when he was here at the club. If that was the wage that he wanted here at the Red Bulls, we probably would have kept him. He wanted something like 3K a week. So Cincinnati somehow have got him there on a cheap looking to loan him out to the BFU. He probably could have just done that, but maybe he wouldn't have joined us anyway. But Zach Garcia, he's left and gone to Cincinnati. Going back here, and there's another player that left in the draft. That was David Torres. I'm pretty sure he was in our B team because I don't recognise him too much. He's crossed lines over to New York City. So let's hope he gets injured or something for being a big old trader. Going up further, we let go of Louis Olvera when his contract did expire as formerly in the last season. Was pretty poor. Brian Green went above him as the second choice striker, so we did let go of him. He is at Memphis 901. I imagine that's another team in the USL somewhere. Indeed, that is the case. And then the big sale of the entire window, Renier to Tigres for £14.25 million. So obviously, Renier was our captain last season. During the course, though, of the second half of last season, some teams did start to bid for him, and we told him that anything over 10 million would accept, and obviously 14.25 million is a fair bit over 10. Renier, our previous club captain and one of our designated players, is no longer at the club off the back of just under 180 appearances and 43 goals. The first season, we used him in the advanced playmaker role before we brought in Leroy Sané. Then we moved him to right wing, where he did a pretty good job for us last season. One of our better players with 14 goals, 13 assists, and a 7.38 average rating. To be fair, I think there were even more goals and assists than that when you include all competitions. But Renier has departed. To be fair, the club makes a mega big profit on him there. Only bought him for $650K, and we sell him for just over 14 million. So losing the one of our best players, our club captain. Thankfully, though, we were able to actually improve in that area, albeit hopefully that doesn't mess up too much our dynamics going into the start of this Champions League. Now going over into the 2030 season, you can see there was one more sale early on. We might as well get that out of the way first. Nelson Insfran to Deportes Antofagasta, who are over there. Check out where these guys are. It is in Chile. He's made the move to another club there in South America. Nelson Insfran, we got him in the waiver draft here last season once New York City FC did release him, a decent backup for us, but really at 35 years old, did feel like he'd be a player that we should let go of. So that's how he made his way there to Deportes Antofagasta, and that was for a fee of not a heck of a lot, but just under £500,000. Not too bad for someone that we did get on a free. So that's the only players that we got rid of in terms of sales. Also, there was one in terms of a trade. It's quite a big name as well once we make our way over. Let's just see if I can find him. Indeed, it's that first trade we did. It happened just before that sale of Insfran Milutin Vidosavojevic, aka MV. Just so injury prone here last season and taking up a foreign spot. We got rid of him to Atlanta United for $775K of general allocation money. That, as I said, quite important, because we really were struggling with the salary cap. In fact, that's one of the reasons that the sale of Renier worked out quite well for us, because if we go back and check out the wage that he is on these days at Tigres, and also have a quick look at it when he was here at the New York Red Bulls, that was about £54,000 a week here. So that's a hefty old wage for someone, even as a designated player. So if you're trying to help out there, our GAM, and also our salary cap, getting rid of Renier, not that we had too much say in that one with that promise that we did make. But going back to the trades, MB, to be fair, wasn't on too much of a wage, but that GAM money was very useful. Also, we gave them a future pick in a draft, but to be fair, we won't be playing the save by then. We got rid of MV to Atlanta. Just way too injury prone when he was here. Actually a bit better than Birchmas, but I think last season Birchmas did outperform him and is a local player. So MB these days over at Atlanta United. We'll see if we meet him at some stage during the course of the season. Also, a couple more trades that we did do for a lot of GAM money. We took some GAM money there off of Houston for the 9th pick in the draft. This year's draft wasn't very good, so we did trade away a lot of our draft picks there for GAM money to make sure we could keep under that salary cap. A few more deals there for some lower picks in the draft. And also, at the time, we were looking like we might need an extra international spot there. So we did get one a free spare that Nashville had offered those guys for 150k GAM money. But to be fair, that's less than we got given for some of our draft picks. So not too much happening there in terms of trades, apart from GAM money and that deal with MB going to Atlanta United. So it did mean at some stage during the window, we did need to sign a left winger. But first up, we decided to find a replacement for Renier. That was William from Fluminense for £15.5 million. Just to bring to our transfer budget there, a little bit off the back of that sale for £14.25 million. and he is a massive upgrade on Renier, 21 years old, and on about half the wage. You can see there why that was quite useful with our salary cap situation, but he comes from Fluminense off the back of 5 years there, 114 appearances, 18 goals. He is much younger and a lot better physically, and to be fair, a lot better for that inverted winger role that we do use out on the right-hand side. So William comes in now as our first choice right winger, also as a DP, a direct replacement for Renier. So that was the big transfer that we did make during the course of the off-season, getting rid of Renier and bringing in William. Fingers crossed he can do a good job here and help us take that step up to actually doing something in the knockouts. Now, Cesar Lopez was the only player we actually picked up from this year's draft that was as a replacement for Insfran as a third choice goalkeeper. So we picked him up on a relatively cheap deal there, the Puerto Rican international in the draft. That was one of the very last picks, but to be fair, for a third choice goalkeeper, he doesn't look too bad. Going back to the other transfers that we did make, Mark Holland comes in as kind of a replacement for Zach Garcia, a third choice right back and left back, just someone who, if we get a couple of injuries, can do a job on either side. So I've called him up. To be fair, he was previously in our academy. Left to go to Lehigh Valley before we got to the club, but we've brought him back here to cover that Zach Garcia role as a little bit of emergency wing-back cover. And then we signed some players who actually have a bit more of an impact in our first team. Sam Amayu comes in from Southampton for £1.7 million. To be fair, could have waited until his contract expired at the end of June, July. But off the back of that departure of MV, we've brought him into the club to be our first choice left winger, depending on how good a form that Birchams is in this upcoming season. But definitely is an ever so slight upgrade on MV. So another upgrade for us there, and to be fair, for the fee we paid, I think that's quite good value. Is on a much higher wage than MV, but thankfully by this stage we'd sorted out the salary cap there with all those trades that we did make for some extra gammy. So Sam comes in from Southampton to fill that left wing spot that MV did depart. To round things off, we picked up a striker on a free, at least for now anyway, to round things off. Hugo Castillo comes in as someone a bit better, as a backup, and behind Molina as our first choice striker. He comes in from Peru on a free, but to be fair, actually attribute-wise, he's a little bit better than Molina, so that could be interesting this upcoming season. You can see those technicals for a striker are quite good apart from the passing. He's pretty good physically and decent mentally, so we've now got two really good strikers here at the club. He's only 19 years old, so he could do a very good job for us if Molina is not firing. So those are the transfers we have made for now. It does mean our squad overall looks a bit stronger than it did last season. A quick look at the season preview for the MLS Cup, and we are up in second. Last season, we were down there around 5th or 6th, the only team expected to finish above us, as per usual, the LA Galaxy. So I'd like to think we should be able to retain here our Supporters' Shield for this season. Hopefully, go a lot deeper in the Champions League as well. We also have a bid in for another player just to strengthen up our defensive midfield area, which is one where you can pick up quite a few cards there with that ball-winning midfielder role, hopefully coming to the club for a fee of £1.5 million on a wage of just under 6k a week. So I'm hopeful we can just sneak that inside of our transfer budget. But Emerson Sevillano hopefully will join us during the course of today's episode from America de Cali over in Colombia. You can see there a very high potential youngster, so hopefully he will join us. Has some good attributes there for that role and can step in between Julio Cesar and Ryan Lamb as that backup ball-wing midfielder. So I think off the back of that deal, that should be all our transfer business done for the season. Also, to be fair, Julio Cesar, we did promise if a bid came in for him of 20 million, we'd let him go. So hopefully that won't happen because he is a really good player. But to be fair, if we do sign Sevillano, that does already set us up with a replacement and gives us a lot of money in the transfer budget, potentially splash out on someone quite big as well. So that's what we've done in terms of the transfer window going into this last season of the Save. You saw the season preview before. Really should be retaining the Supporters' Shield. Just depends what we're going to do in these knockout cup competitions. Here's what our best 11 does look like going into this season. Just one change actually is Birchmas is in there currently over Amayu because he is on a heavy workload. May as well give him a rest in this game because really we should be beating this team that we are about to play. But usually that back four and goalkeeper situation, the same as it was last season. Not too much change there apart from the fact that we did bring in Mark Holland as the extra cover at both right back and left back, as well as that goalkeeper that we did pick up in the draft. Defensive midfield and attacking midfield is actually also the same there, but the backups will change a little bit once we bring in the Sevillano as the backup to Caesar. Most of the changes do happen in the front area of the field. William at right wing and Emma Amiyar at left wing, but for this game, as I said, we'll start Birchmas, great for us last season, and isn't on a heavy workload. Molina, he gets the start because unfortunately our new striker Castillo is on a heavy workload, but to be fair, we did tell him he'd be a squad player, Castillo, so Molina can keep his spot there as the first choice striker. So our only changes come on the wings for most games that we do play, but to be fair, going to our first game this season, it's a pretty settled squad, so fingers crossed here we can beat this team from Trinidad and Tobago, as you'd expect, considering they don't look too hot and don't really have any players in their squad. So fingers crossed here we can make our way through the first round of the CONCACAF Champions League this season. But it's our first time going to Trinidad and Tobago, so before we get stuck into hopefully a big old win for the first time in a Champions League game here with the New York Red Bulls, let's check out the KloppBot's hotspots. And here's what the KloppBot's found for us here for our time in La Horquetta in Trinidad and Tobago. He gave us 3 hotel recommendations. The best one by far looks like the Hyatt Regency Trinidad, considering it's the only actual 5-star hotel that he has found located in the port of Spain. This hotel offers luxurious accommodations with a spa providing a comfortable environment for relaxation and team preparation. So let's check out here the website for this Hyatt Regency. There you can see it. It does look like a pretty darn nice scene. They've got blokes there to open the door for us while we waltz on in like the big boys that we are, being the Supporters Shield champions, just not quite the MLS champions. You can see there they make some pretty good breakfast. They've got all the relaxing things, and that pool does look very nice, especially from that view over the ocean. There you can see the restaurant. It looks pretty nice. There's the sea. The fellas can do some surfing or whatnot if they want to as well. So this looks like a very nice place for us to stay for our first time here in Trinidad and Tobago. Waterfront leisure meets Caribbean hospitality in our Trinidad hotel. Going down further, it just looks really nice. So to be fair, I think we'll enjoy this one quite a bit before we get stuck into this game, which really we should be winning by a rather large margin. Hopefully the sale of our captain and Renier from last season doesn't impact us too much. It does mean that Julio Cesar actually is the captain, which I suppose a little bit awkward with him potentially being on the move if that £20 million fee does get triggered, which we did promise he'd get sold for. But fingers crossed no club is that silly. Wolfsburg so far have been the closest, and I'm not too sure how, considering I'm pretty sure they went up for too much in the Bundesliga back when we were at RB Leipzig. But indeed, this place does look pretty nice indeed, so we're going to stay there at the Hyatt Regency over in La Horquetta. Now it's time for the free activities. Now to be fair, not too sure if we can expect too much here on a bit of a tropical getaway in the Caribbean, but first up we'll visit the Asa Wright Nature Centre located in the Arima Valley. This nature resort and scientific research station offers guided tours through lush rainforests, providing an opportunity to observe diverse wildlife and tropical plants. It's going to be a bit here of a chill out and check out the plants as well as the birds. Indeed, kind of looks like a little bit of a wildlife sanctuary. There's the first photo of a rather colourful bird. You've got some trails, and also there's a bit there of an overlooking hut. We'll just see what else here is on this website, because to be fair, not too sure how much we can expect here on some of these websites for some of these places in the Caribbean. Indeed, there's not a heck of a lot that we can check out, but a bit there of a bird reserve and some nature walks that we can do to just get ourselves settled in there in La Horquetta. And off the back of that, we're going to do some more exploration, this time of Maracas Beach, potentially the home of Maracas. Not too sure about that, but we'll roll with it for now. A popular destination known for its scenic beauty and local cuisine, Maracas Beach offers a relaxing environment for team members to unwind and enjoy the coastal landscapes. We'll check out here what we've found for this place. We'll just get rid of that there. Surely COVID-19, we don't need stuff about that. To be fair, that photo, it isn't the best one. It looks okay, but you can't really see too much there of the beach. Hopefully there's a few more nice photos that we can check out here if we check out these ones over here. Fingers crossed they look a bit more decent. There's a little bit there of a jetty, aka fishing wharf. To be fair, so far not that impressive. To be fair, I'm a bit sport coming from New Zealand, but still it looks a little bit average. I suppose there's a decent amount of sand. It's a lot better than what we saw during the New Zealand Build Nation up in Auckland. The little mini tiny beaches they actually think are quite good, but now that view does make it look a little bit better. It almost looks like though a little bit of a washed up island, some sort of castaway vibes for us here it feels like with this beach, but it does look kind of decent. A little bit reminiscent of somewhere I know called French Pass down in the Marlborough Sounds, but yeah, it looks okay. Not the greatest beach, but it'll probably be a lot better than some of the places our New York boys have been to, so we'll go check that place out. Second up, in La Horquetta, and to wrap things up, we're going dining at Bompi's. In La Horquetta, we'll experience local flavours by trying dishes like pork lo mein and barbecue wings at Bompi's, a well-known eatery. So it's time for us here to have a big old feed before this game that we're going to play now. Kind of awkwardly, there's just a Facebook page and YouTube channel for this place. It's a barbecue spot, so to be fair, our fellas should enjoy this. You can see there, they've got some pretty decent looking wings. Go down further and find the next photo. They've got beef patties and also some other stuff, bacon on top of the beef cheese. So they do some pretty good burgers. And going down further, there's some more food that we can check out. In fact, there's the menu. You've got barbecue chicken, pork jerk, pork barbecue lamb, fish, and pigtail. And you've got all the sides you could wish for. So yeah, they've got a bit going on there. There's the lo mein menu, which does, to be fair, sound pretty decent. Crispy skim pork. They might need to work there a little bit on the English, but apart from that, it doesn't look too bad. Looks like it should be a pretty good feed. So that's what we're going to check out there while we are in La Horquetta. Well, hopefully a very comfy win in the first leg of this first round tie in the CONCACAF Champions League. And here are the team sheets here for our first game of the season, mainly just in case we've got any TLH Rangers fans out there who want to see what their team does look like in 2030, but really should be beating those guys. There's our team. Bertram is at left winger, but otherwise it's our best 11. This might be a bit of a cutty game in terms of highlights, because I imagine there'll be quite a few, because we really should thump these guys. I mean, don't have to wait too long for the first highlight of this game, just 3 minutes, and it was actually the TLH Rangers in the white and the black who were on the attack, but thankfully that ball there does get plucked out of the sky by KloppBot. To be fair, the pitch here does look quite short and narrow, not too wide, so this might be interesting for us here. Reminds me of that stadium that Christchurch United had, I believe, back in the New Zealand Builder Nation with our time at Cashmere Tech, but now we start to get on the front foot here. Zanotti makes his way into the opposition half now. Wisden Army looked to go for before playing it back there to Tick, which fingers crossed he goes a lot better than he did in the last game we played. Of course, that loss to Columbus, a chance there, which was to Sane, but unfortunately he pulls that one wide on the front foot, but still scoreless. And we're doing a little while for the next highlight of this game, just past 20-minute mark. So actually a little bit disappointed we haven't scored just yet, but we finally do. Nambasha Berchamas will put that one away off the back of that ball there from Gabriel Pereira, who, to be fair, there was some quite big interest in from some clubs, but to be fair, we weren't going to trade him, not even for $2 million of gambling, unless we absolutely had to. Fingers crossed that was not the case, but thankfully we finally scored there a ball floated far post, which Berchamas can put away to make it 1-0 to the Red Bulls. And we go forward and hit the half-hour mark now, and hopefully the floodgates will open up here as we've got a corner here with Zenta. Will put near post. Unfortunately, couldn't quite pick out the Ami, who retreats to get that one back. Some good short passing, and Zenta will put that one off back of the assist from Berchamas. Fingers crossed he stayed on side. A good finish there to put it away just inside of that left-hand upright, but unfortunately, our players aren't celebrating. The goal's been disallowed. It's taking a wee while for us here to try and put these guys to bed as early as I was hoping for, considering it's a pretty average team. Unfortunately, just a foot offside. There's not too much in that one, but unfortunately, it's the correct decision. To be fair, XG-wise, we are matching what we're supposed to be in this game. Lots of shots on target, but apparently just not too many threatening. And now we have the ball here inside the box, and there might be a penalty. Someone went down there in amongst the big old scuffle. There is VAR, though. Not too sure how that works over in the Caribbean, but we're about to find out. Someone did go down there. I'm not too sure how close it was, though, to the ball, because it was a bit of a jumbled up highlight, that one. We'll see if this penalty does get awarded. It doesn't. Still 1-0 with 10 minutes left in the first half. And just make our way into 2 minutes of added time in the first half. Honestly, a bit disappointed with our performance so far, considering we've put a pretty strong team for this game when we probably could have saved these guys up potentially for that MLS opener against Montreal. But to be fair, they're also pretty rubbish. But so far, we haven't been great. We've definitely been on the front foot, but we're only one goal in front. We're not going to make any changes because, to be fair, most guys out there are doing quite well. A few players on the bench on a heavy workload off the back of the preseason that we have had. To be fair, that preseason, we did start off a bit slow. We did suffer a defeat to LAFC and also drew with a team that was a local team. So we did start off a bit rough there in the preseason, but it looks like here we're playing a bit better when we do get into the regular season, albeit a good chance there, which does get stopped. Molina not having the best game. He drops down to a 6.3, which is a bit concerning, but still only 1-0 early in the second half. And going forward to the hour mark, and Molina still stuck on that 6.3, so we'll give him a rest here while we can. Brian Green on the bench, obviously with our new striker and Castillo on a heavy workload, quite injury prone. Let's give our third choice, who did a really good job for us late last season. Let's give him some game time here off the bench. And off the back of that, we do have a corner, unfortunately. Can't quite link up there at the near post, but Pirani will float that one far post there for Williams, who heads it down, it looked like, for a chance there, but a good save from Archer. I think that is in goal for the TLH Rangers. Does keep this at 1-0, so to be fair, they're doing quite well here to keep themselves in this game, and they'll continue, still only 1-0 with 25 minutes left. And just about to sneak our way into the last 15 minutes of this game, we're looking for a cushion goal, and we finally get one. It's a corner. Pirani will pick out Wisdom Ami, who heads that one home. To be fair, it's now a couple of games in a row. It's taken him a wee while to score from set pieces, because it took him a while as well in that game against Columbus Crew at the end of last week. We probably should have scored more in that situation. That would have helped us at least take that one to a penalty shootout perhaps, but off the back of that, we'll start to make some subs here, give some of our younger players some game time late on in this one. Take off the guys not quite on full green hearts. So Connor for Tikvich, Lamb for Caesar, Jimenez for Sane. Still got one more sub that we can make, and hopefully now we can really put the foot down. We put that ball far post for Birchmus, a great chance, but unfortunately straight into the path of Williams. That's their goalkeeper. Not too sure what the other name was I came up with earlier, but that's definitely not it. But we get the ball back here, and Pirani starts to drive forward, having really created a great chance before there for Birchmus, and then William looks for that near post corner, can't quite pick it out. We're still only 2-0 in front. Off the back of that, Birchmus now drops down to a red heart. Paul Perez, who we drafted last season, is our third choice at left wing for this upcoming one. He can come off the bench as we sneak our way into the last 10 minutes. Still only 2 goals in front. And thankfully, we do get a highlight here, another chance from a set piece, and Wisdom Emmy goes looking for a double, but unfortunately, that one just drifts wide. Was really hoping here for a third goal to try and put this game to bed, but to be fair, when I look at the stats now, and I start to look at the TLH Rangers, they did absolutely nothing, so maybe they parked the bus. To be fair, though, they're going with the exact same formation that we did, so to be fair, I'm pretty disappointed with that result, but still, I think going back to the Red Bull Arena, they shouldn't be able to overturn a 2-goal deficit off the back of a game where they got no shots off. So fingers crossed that'll be enough for us there to make our way through to the second round of this CONCACAF Champions League. They did nothing in attack. We're a little bit rusty in front of goal, to be fair. It could have been worse. We could have got Club America like Columbus did. They've lost 4-2 in their home league. They might be in trouble, as is the case with Charlotte FC. But that's a solid win away from home. Should have been a lot more goals that we did score, but fingers crossed we can come back, show you guys the highlights, and make our way through to that second round off the back of the home league. And here are the highlights from that second league back at home. Now, to be fair, we did put out a pretty heavy rotation for this game. I thought we needed to, because put out quite a strong team for our season opener in MLS against Montreal. To be fair, though, early didn't like it would make a difference, because Daniel Edelman with a goal there to make it 3-0, albeit we didn't score off the back of that. They actually got one in the second half through Hosea Superville, so it's just a draw for us there at home. So definitely not a great performance in the first round of the CONCACAF Champions League, but thankfully we got a pretty average team with not many real players, so we go through 3-1 on aggregate. So definitely room for improvement in the second round of the Champions League, but it did give us a chance there to give a lot of our rotation players some game time in that second league. You can see the stats there, pretty similar to the first league, apart from the fact that that time the Rangers did get a couple of shots off, but that's probably a tie we should have won by quite a few more goals, but we'll take the result, considering that last year, of course, we got knocked out by Tigres. So to be fair, quite lucky we got that team in that first round, because we've got a half-decent team like Columbus did in Club America. I dare say they would have beaten us with our wasteful finishing over both leagues. To be fair, we did okay, though, in that game in between. Our first team looked a lot better in the 4-1 win away from home against Montreal. A double for William, and Molina and Tikvich also picked up first half goals. A strong start for us there. Not too sure why that didn't happen in the Champions League, but we did beat Montreal in our season opener. Just a little bit odd there that we couldn't put more goals past the TLH Rangers. But if you go down further, you'll see who we've got in the next round is the defending MLS Cup champions. We've got Austin FC. So that's going to be an interesting tie coming up in tomorrow's episode. It's over 2 leagues. So I dare say it'll be a 2-game episode coming up tomorrow. Fingers crossed our guys might be a little bit more match fit off the back of a few more MLS games that we do have in between now and then against Nashville, New England and Seattle. But Austin, they could be very difficult. The defending MLS Cup champions, albeit we have never lost to a team from the West so far since coming to the New York Red Bulls. To be fair, this would be a heck of a time for that to change, but fingers crossed we can get past the defending champions here in the MLS and make our way through to the next round of that CONCACAF Champions League. But I think that will do it for today's episode. In fact, one more thing, that transfer that we were looking to do did go through. Let's go over to transfer history. Emerson Sevillano did join us for $1.5 million, just snuck inside there of our transfer budget. So we did bring in Sevillano. The only reason we actually were able to bring him in was because just before we did look to do that transfer, Aaron Zenta did actually get his green card. So that's the reason that we were able to sign. Otherwise, probably wouldn't have traded for that international slot like we did earlier in the window, but wasn't aware that Zenta was about to get his green card. That's probably something when the next FM comes out that they should probably tell you about if players are about to get their green card, so you can plan your roster around that a little bit more. But I think that will do it for today's episode. Probably a little bit of a long one with those couple of transfers that we did do, and just doing enough there to make our way past the TLH Rangers in that first round of the Champions League. If you enjoyed that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well until tomorrow for what should be a much tougher clash in the second round of this CONCACAF Champions League against Austin FC. Thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.